Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where as you can see behind me, we do in fact have a set change. We have got the great Celtic flag behind us, and as voted by you guys today, we are going to be rating each Celtic player this season so far. Before we get into the video though, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support the channel even further, please do consider becoming a member by clicking that join button next to the subscribe one. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, as you can see on the screen, we have 20 images representing 20 players who have represented Celtic this season. I'm not doing every single Celtic player this season because I think it's unfair to judge players who have either left the club or have played a certain amount of games. So, my requirements for these players is that they have had to have played at least 5 games for the green and white, and also they have had to have continued playing for the club and not have moved on, so that rules out the likes of Edouard and Christie. But let's get into it. So as you guys can see, the first player we have is Liel Abada. Now Abada, he came in during the season, and during the off season, and signed him. He was actually, I think, the first major signing by Postecoglou. And he started off in red hot form. He played extremely well for Celtic. But as the time's gone on, he sort of, dropped off in form. I guess a lot of people have criticised him for it, but we have to remember he's such a young player. But he has shown in recent times that form is picking up. Now that he's in a settled front three with Jota and Kyogo, he obviously isn't the most dangerous out of the three or the most noticeable, but he certainly is putting in 100% every time he plays, and he's got a great link-up play with Ralston down that right-hand side. So for that reason, I'm going him into, not done well. I'm going to put him into pretty good, because he has done pretty good for Celtic this season, considering he's 19 years old. Has he been incredible, though? I don't think we can put him in there as of yet, but he has a lot of potential to become incredible in the future. The next player we're putting in is actually his Israeli teammate, Nir Baton. Now, Baton has been in and out of the squad all season. When we had next to no players, he was in the whole time, playing centre-back. He got sent off against Midtjylland, and everyone wanted him out. He went out as everyone wanted. Then he had a long absence from the team. Then Callum McGregor got injured. He still didn't even come back in then, but now that Tom Rogic has been injured, he's came in to fill that void that Callum McGregor leaves behind as he pushes upfield. Nir Baton, he certainly hasn't been incredible. He certainly hasn't been, he hasn't been incredible, but he hasn't been pretty good. I think he's done well because he's filled the gaps when we've needed him. He cost us early on in the season, but we have to remember he isn't a centre back. He is a centre mid or CDM, holding CDM, and he's done well when he's been needed in that position. Nothing special, but done the job required of him. Next up, we have the absolute brick shithouse, Cameron Carter-Vickers. He arrived on loan on deadline day for Celtic, and he's been an absolute top performer for Celtic. Ever since his arrival, he's always performed. I don't think he's had a bad game for Celtic as of yet, and for that reason, I think I can't say much more about him. He has been incredible for Celtic. It's really hard to put defenders into the incredible, tier. But he's been our best defender, I think, bar Ralston this season. And he's made such a strong claim for Celtic to activate the buyout clause they have with him. I don't know what it is, but it's rumoured to be around £5 million. Personally, I would take that in a heartbeat for Cameron Carter-Vickers. Moving on. Do I even need to explain myself? This kid is absolutely incredible. Jota, what more can I say about him? The stats say, I don't have the stats in front of me here, but I think he's averaging a goal or assist per game for Celtic. He's been absolutely incredible. And I can't say much more about him. Celtic, you need to be activating that buyout clause. He loves the club. He looks like he loves the club. He loves the fans. He's absolutely transformed our attacking front three. He literally, if Celtic score a goal, he's somehow had a role in it. Whether he scores it, assists it, set it up, I don't know. But he has been incredible without a doubt. Jota, honestly, he's challenging Kyogo as my favourite Celtic player. It sounds hard to believe, but he seriously is challenging it. Next up, we have got Jamesy Forrest. someone who has been marred with injuries this season so far and has not gotten the opportunity to impress Ange Postecoglou and make a name to, take a Barda's spot in the team. I feel bad for him because in here he is such a good player, James Forrest, but he just hasn't been able to string a good run of form and consistency together to allow him to shine in the setup. We've seen glimpses of his form, especially against Dundee. When he got brought on, he was arguably our best substitution in that match. He set up a golden chance for Giacomakis, who skied it. So I think I'm going to put Forrest into okay, because he's gotten limited opportunities and he hasn't really stood out, but we all know he has that class in him, so he has been okay for Celtic this season. Moving on, we have the Greek freak, Georgios Giacomakis. A lot of players, a lot of people, someone that I actually labelled in I regrettably label him as a Greek Albion Yeti, mainly because I was very frustrated at penalty miss. He's shown glimpses of being a class player, but I think ever since that penalty miss, he has just been out of form. He's lacked confidence, and that's something I think he prides himself in, a lot of confidence. So I think without that, he certainly loses a lot of ability, and I think he's trying very hard to impress the Celtic supporters. You saw when he came on against Dundee, he tried a lot of skills, a lot of fancy stuff, but he isn't that kind of player. He's a poacher, and he scores those tap-ins and the headers that a lot of players can't get to. Look, he's done okay. He's done okay. He hasn't done well for me. He scored one goal for Celtic, but other than that, he really hasn't done much else. He's shown he's got a lot of capabilities to become a good Celtic player, but I just think he's only done okay so far for this season, for me personally. Next up, we have one of the best signings Ange made in the transfer window, Joe Hart. I don't know where we'd be without Joe Hart, and I can say honestly, when Celtic made the Joe Hart signing, I saw it very skeptically, because if he performed well, he would be a saviour. He would help us win the league if he came in and brought form. But if he underperformed, well then Celtic were no better than they left off. We'd have three then goalkeepers who couldn't string a run of good games together and couldn't make a decent save. But Joe Hart has put all his critics to bed. He has absolutely been pivotal to Celtic's success this season. He's kept us in matches, made some huge saves for the club, and honestly, like I said earlier, I don't know where we'd be without him, because to win the league, you need a strong goalkeeper. Joe Hart has been absolutely incredible for Celtic. Moving in, and this one's hard to see, this player's hard to see just because the image was so far out. I couldn't find really a better one. I was just lazy, but shh. Anyways, we have Mikey Johnston, another player like James Forrest, who has been marred with injuries this season. He was recovering from a hamstring injury, picked up another hamstring injury, was out for a while, but ever since his return, he's shown a lot of glimpses of class. The footballer that we all fell in love with is in Mikey Johnston. He's still such a young lad, and he has so much growth and development to go. And he's in the games he's played, I think he's started one game, but he's done well for me. I think Mikey Johnston has done very well for me. The only moment I can think that really pissed me off about him is when against Ferencváros he lost possession in the last 2 minutes of the match, and then they went on to score a goal that could have led to an equaliser and ruined that night in Hungary for Celtic, but obviously it didn't. But that's the one criticism I've had this season. He honestly, when he gets subbed on, he's like a super sub. He's that kind of player that when you bring on, he's just going to bring so much life and energy and passion, and he's done that in the games he's been required of. So, Mikey Johnston, you've done well for me, lad. Moving on, we have the Croatian international fullback, Josip Juranovic, another Ange Postecoglou signing this transfer window. He's literally played only one game in his natural right-back position, purely because of Tony Ralston's form. So he's been playing at left back, and Juranovic has brought so much stability and class, I guess you could say, playing on the left-hand side. Obviously, he's not a natural left footer, so he's always going to cut back on his right foot, but he's shown a lot of composure and a lot of experience for a player like him. And I think in a position he's not used to playing, it's hats off to him. And he scored two crucial penalties, one against Real Betis, which we could have gone on to win that match, but is what it is. He scored a crucial penalty against St. Johnstone. He should have scored a crucial penalty against Livingston, but the Greek freak got in the way. But Josip Juranovic has done pretty good for me this season. He hasn't been incredible because he hasn't really, stood out much, but he has been pretty good. He's bordering on the incredible, I think. But yeah, pretty good suits me, and I think it suits you guys as well. Moving on, and honestly, what do I even have to say here? It's Kyogo. Kyogo hasn't been incredible. He's been pretty good, but he hasn't been he literally deserves his own tier because he has been incredible. Kyogo is one of those players who can go absolutely quiet for 90 minutes and then score a hat-trick. He can score a hat-trick and not do anything else for 90 minutes because that's the kind of player he is. He doesn't really get involved in the build-up, but you just know where he's going to be and you just know he's going to finish off those chances. Like against Dundee, I don't really recall seeing him much in the build-up play or really getting involved in the game. But, he scores an incredible header, getting over the tallest player on the field. And then he scores a wonderful weak foot shot that goes off the post. First time as well. He's just an incredible footballer. And he, like Jota, he has absolutely revitalised this Celtic attack. And he's got Celtic playing fast-flowing, attacking football that us as supporters love. And that is getting the team wins and results. And honestly, I'm so glad that we have him for 3-4 years because he is such a good player. And honestly, I can expect him if he continues this form, I can expect the Premier League Cubs calling in the next few years, but that's for the future. Let's enjoy him while we have him. Kyogo has been incredible this season, without a doubt. Moving on, we have James McCarthy, a transfer that surprised me a lot because James McCarthy is one of those players who, if he's on form, he's really, really good. But he's prone to injury and he really hasn't hit his mark in Celtic this season. He's been injured. Yeah, look, I just don't think it's worked out for him that much. He's had one strong showing is all I can remember. He's been disappointing. I hate to put him in there because he's a class lad, but he's just been disappointing for Celtic this season. And you can tell because he has, I don't know, he's got a lot to offer still. He's only 30 years old, but I think he's in a position where Callum McGregor is going to play there without a doubt unless, Rogic gets injured. And with that, he looks like he's behind near Baton at the moment. So, James McCarthy, you've been disappointing. Honestly, I probably should have changed disappointing to underperformed because that's really what he has done. He's underperformed, but I don't think he's done okay. I think he has been less than okay. Moving on, we have the captain, Callum McGregor. Honestly, a lot of people thought Callum McGregor didn't deserve the captaincy role. A lot of people think he wasn't caught up to it, but you can just say on the field, him as the captain, he brings so much to the team. He is our leader on the field. He demonstrates by example, and he keeps the Celtic team together. You can see when we have him playing at CDM, going forward, we're so much more lethal than when he is at centre mid because he starts the play. Everything Celtic does attacking-wise starts with him in that CDM role where he just gets involved with everything. He's everywhere around the pitch. He's got such incredible stamina. He can run for ages. Yeah, he's been incredible this season. I think, not pretty good. He's been incredible, Callum McGregor, for me. I just think everything he does goes unnoticed, and he's certainly not one of those players whose stats reflect the way he plays, but it's his general play that's just incredible, and he leads as our captain by example, and you can see on the pitch he commands the other players. So McGregor has been incredible for me. Moving on, we have young Adam Montgomery. Monty, he's one of those players who shows a lot of potential, but I think he lacks a lot of experience. And he's been, when called upon, he's done what he's had to do. He's played really good. He showed a lot of class in the Aberdeen game about having to in that assist to Jota, which won us the match. I want to put him in. He's done pretty good, but he's done well because he hasn't really been a standout. You can see those moments where he's lacked a lot of ability. So for me, Monty has done well. I think a lot of you would want to put him in pretty good, but I think he's got a lot of flaws in his game. And not a lot of flaws, but a lot of skills in his game he hasn't developed as of yet. And at left back, he gets out physicaled a lot. Moving on, we have Mr. Tony Ralston, a player who came into this season, which every Celtic fan did not want him in the team. Every Celtic fan knew he wasn't up to standard. But now every Celtic fan thinks he's setting the standard for the team. Tony Ralston has been incredible for Celtic this season. No matter what anyone says, I still feel maybe Juranovic is a better footballer than him, but Tony Ralston he embodies Celtic Football Club. and he gives 100% every time he's on that field. He gets his head down. He was rewarded with a new 4-year contract. I can't say much more than that. He's one of the best attacking fullbacks in the league this season. Tony Ralston, you've been incredible, bud, honestly. Tom Rogic, marred with injury. He's been out injured for a couple of weeks now, but I think you can see the difference he makes to the team. He is just that spark in attack that sets everything off. I said Callum McGregor starts all the attacking phases, but Tom Rogic makes those final crucial through passes, which set up the goals eventually. I want to put him incredible. I have to put him in pretty good because I think it's a lot of the Aussie in me talking that he's been incredible for Celtic, but he's had moments of brilliance. He's had a lot of moments of brilliance, but I don't think he's been absolutely incredible for Celtic, but he's done really, really, really good. And you can see stuff it. He's going in incredible because, as I said earlier, that what he brings to this team, if you don't have him in the team, you lack so much drive going forward and attacking quality. He has to be there. Tom Rogic has been incredible for me this season. Oh, but he's been pretty good. I don't know. Look, I want to put him on the border. Like we're going to put him in pretty good, but think of him as on the border, okay? Like, he's 50-50 for me, so don't read it. Just imagine what I'm saying, all right? Ismaila Soro, I can't really describe much about him. He's been disappointing for Celtic. He's been really, really rash when he comes into games, into tackles, and I think he's just really he hasn't shown much development from last season, where I think last season he just looked like a shining light in a really, really awful team. I think, but he's been poor this season. Soro has, and you can see he's like the 4th choice CDM option at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if Ange lets him go, to be honest, in the foreseeable future. But Soro, yeah, he's been disappointing. Now, Carl Starfelt, another player who a lot of people thought didn't deserve to have that centre-back role. A lot of people thought it belonged to Stephen Welsh. But I do believe that Starfelt has proved his critics wrong. He's became a real strong defender for Celtic, and then unfortunately he got injured. But up until that point, he was doing pretty good. But I think the earlier season form lacks him down. So I'm going to put him in done well, purely because how well he was doing in the second half of this, 1/3 of the season. The first half of it was quite poor. I think he took a long time to settle in, so he's done well for Celtic. Carl Starfelt. Greg Taylor, yet again, another person who I think took to Ange's system really well, like Tony Ralston, but you can see he's got a lot more flaws in his game going forward, and I think he did get rewarded with a new contract, but I don't think I can see him replacing Juranovic when he returns. So for that reason, I'm putting him in done well because he's been injured for a lot of this time now. I wish him a speedy recovery, but he's done well for Celtic. I can't really put him in okay, because he has done well when needed to do well. David Turnbull, the man's been everywhere. He's the only player to have played every single game for Celtic this season. He's a workhorse for Celtic. A lot of people questioned his abilities because he's so young and his ability to play in the same team as Rogic. He's done pretty good. I want to put him in incredible because he's played every game for Celtic this season and hasn't really disappointed. But there's been a few moments this season where he hasn't performed to his best. I don't think he's incredible, but I certainly think he's done pretty good. He's like Rogic. He's 50-50 on each side. Moving into Stephen Welsh, he's our last player on this list, and for me, Stephen Welsh, he hasn't got much of a look in this season because Ange decided to pick and stick with the combination of Carter Vickers and Carl Starfelt. But when he's been called upon, honestly, Stephen Welsh he's done pretty good for Celtic. He hasn't played too much, but when he's played pretty good. I don't want to put him above Starfelt though because he's just played less games. But when he's had to play for Celtic, there was some moments in the Europa League qualifying against AZ Alkmaar, which showed his class at such a young age. So for me, Stephen Welsh is going in pretty good. Now, that's my tier list. That's all the players done. That's where I've got him ranked. And you know what? I think it's a pretty good tier system. A lot of people won't agree with me. If you do disagree with me, drop it in the comments below. But that is all from me. So, until next time, hail, hail.